This is a clip from the Cannon podcast. To hear the full episode and get access to exclusive benefits, head over to patreon.com/thecannonpod and sign up for just £3 a month.
Edu Gaspar. Now, Edu is a guy that gets a lot of stick in the Arsenal media, mainly on Arsenal Twitter, of course. Edu out, Edu in, the barbecue's going. I see a lot of these memes all the time. But let's talk about Edu specifically as a person right now. You know, at Arsenal, he came in, I think, in 2020, in the window where we still had Raul Sanllehi as well, and he's now become, obviously, the Arsenal, I believe, technical director. I think he's a director of football now as well. Very much in charge of the Arsenal in general, not just the Arsenal first team, Arsenal Academy, and, of course, the Arsenal women as well. Do you guys believe that Edu Gaspar gets too much disrespect? And does he deserve more respect, is the question, Alex. Do you think Edu deserves a little bit more, apart from the barbecues themselves?
Yes, he does in fan culture, but I think that's natural. I think probably in sporting circles, I think he does get the credit that he deserves, because he's masterminded or been part of a kind of masterminding of a complete club overhaul. And people will be looking at him going, wasn't there some rumours recently about him being looked at by certain bigger clubs and stuff, and so. Look, I think we have to make a distinction between what we see as fans on Twitter, seeing so-and-so reacting because they saw a rumour once from this guy who has paid for a blue verified check. We have to separate that out from the fact that this guy is probably very well respected in sporting circles. I think we also have to understand his context, in the sense that, firstly, this was his first job in this sense. Obviously, he'd done it with the Brazil national team. I think he'd been involved in Corinthians, if I'm not mistaken. But at the Premier League level, dealing with a sort of culture reset, that this is the first time he's done it. He's done it alongside one of the greatest football brains in world football, in my opinion, in Mikel Arteta. But, credit to him, he has also played his part. I think people also misunderstand what Edu does. In the sense that I think people think that Edu is the guy going, oh, here's the wage offer, here's whatever. Edu is the go-between. In all of it, and again, we don't necessarily have a job description out on Arsenal.com, but from all the things that we hear, I think we might have mentioned this on the podcast before, but James McNicholas did a great interview about how football deals work, and Edu is really the guy who goes between the board and the players' agents, and Richard Garlick, who does most of the negotiating and the contract work, all that sort of stuff, gets people around the table, smooth things over. I imagine would have been the person who made the initial contact with Rice, etc., or maybe him and his George will know the name of the assistant sporting director, Jason Ito. So yeah, look, he is someone who is very responsible for club culture. I would say he's one of the most, especially around the place, in terms of, bringing people together, ensuring that the right things are happening, taking people around the training ground, meeting people, getting the right staff in. That's his role, really, a lot of what he does. And that side of things has gone through the roof. Staff, everyone there at the club is saying there has never been a better time to be at Arsenal Football Club. And that's a lot on Edu. So I think he deserves more respect, of course, from fans. But I also I don't think that's a good metric, or it's not even worth our time trying to be well, why don't fans do this? Fans ultimately are, fancy word, sublimating their emotions through the football club. That's what they're doing. So it's not rational. It's not going to be a rational take. It's going to be reaction. And I feel it as well sometimes. Come on, just get it done. Get the payment structure done for Rice or whatever. But actually, Edu, that's not his job. He just needs to he needs to bring the club together and sort of oversee that all, and deal with the women's side. He deals with the academy. He liaises with Pair, etc., and that side of things, the club unity that Edu is ultimately responsible for, is really, really good. So yes, he deserves more credit and respect, but I don't think he's going to get it from the average Arsenal fan on Twitter, frankly.
Yeah, I think mainly part of it is because fans, as you said, don't know what he actually does. They think he's in charge of the Arsenal finances, he's got no money, and he's placing bids like it's FIFA. I truly believe they think that. And they don't know if he's not the guy negotiating. As you said, he's the guy getting the people on the table. And, when Arsenal win games and Arsenal make some good signings, it's all Mikel Arteta, right? And that's praise, because Mikel Arteta is a very good manager. But I think sometimes Edu deserves the respect of making things happen behind the scenes as well. I'm not saying he's perfect, by the way, but this is his first job in European football. And for him to have helped Arsenal get to where we are now and how far we're going to in the future, I think he deserves more praise. What do you think, George?
I'm just going to make kind of an analog here. If Mikel Arteta is this incredible coach, by the way, who we all expected to learn going from 8th, 5th to a challenging squad. What is the equivalent off, like a kind of in the boardroom for Edu, right? Like he had struggling sales. He got us a couple big deals in terms of Gabriel and Partey. He's messed up some other deals. He had some really good ones in Ramsdale and White. But this season, we have confirmed contracts for Gabriel Magalhaes. We've confirmed contracts for Martinelli. We've confirmed contracts for Saka, Reece Nelson, William Saliba. We've confirmed £200 million worth of talent all before preseason has started. No offense, guys. I think in terms of sporting directors, that is about as high as you can get in a window, and the window is not even done yet. So if we're going to be fair, that is the equivalent of what Mikel has done from a head coaching position of coaching us up to title challengers. And Edu deserves the exact same respect because he has been able to get these things done. And by the way, these are bankable things. This is not what he could do later on in the window. This is ignoring the fact that he's also got double the fee for Granit Xhaka, by the way, right now. We still have things to see. And so when you look at it, look, Edu deserved criticism, but people overlooked COVID. Let's just have it right. That market was weird. It was something that the sports world will never see again. And forget the fact that Arsenal were quite poor in global perception. I really struggle how sporting directors were to be judged fairly in a market like that. And then when you project it towards the future, you guys have both said it, we have a young team, not just in terms of the sporting side, but also in the backroom side. It was inevitable that they were going to learn. It was inevitable that they were going to get better. And fans also have no idea that Edu isn't responsible for negotiations. That is garlic. When you're looking at the sports law, he is the one with the background of physically making the deals. Edu brings you like a telephone to the table. He's not involved in the minutia of deals. Like that is garlic.
Yes,
that is
he
Tim
is.
Lewis.
He fumbled the deal. He fumbled it.
There's that opinion.
Get him out.
There's that opinion, but then, look, guys, the one thing I will say, and I still haven't seen from Edu, and I will levy criticism for, is when we first bought him from Corinthians, the entire idea that we were sold on was potentially Edu having a market or a competitive advantage in the Brazilian or South American market. I haven't quite seen that. When I look at some of the connections, I do think he could have done a lot better, and he still has yet to really provide that of. But, he should be getting us some premier talents from his home country. He should be able to to get ahead on that part of the world and market that part of the world. But again, that's something that he could prove down the line. That's just something that I think that he should have been able to show. But look, in terms of looking at this season and what we've done to date, I don't think it gets better from a sporting director's point of view to secure, 4 major talents, by the way. Gabriel Magalhaes is a starter, William Saliba, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli. I think we'd all agree those were major contracts done prior to preseason. We've got Declan Rice, a British transfer record sorted. We've got an amazing talent in Yuri and Timber that's going to be one of the best price to quality deals on the market done. And we recruited kind of a rival player in Kai Havertz for £65 million. All that is a lot of work to be done before preseason has even started. So if you're going to be fair, I think in grading windows, that's about as good as it gets, not including the doubling of the fee of Granit Xhaka from a sale perspective. So we're doing that. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I think that he's got a lot more to show, but just right now, he's having the equivalent of a title challenging run that Mikel did in off the pitch terms. Like, I don't know how much better you can get. The only thing, by the way, that you can get better is a huge record sale. And guys, guess who's linked today, for a major sale in Valerian Balogun for £50 million. It's getting better. And I just think that's the last thing that needs to be done before you can lay the claim. I think Edu deserves huge praise. And, he has for a while. He should get his plaudits. You can't have Edu out in the barbecue jokes when he's doing serious business like this.
It's mad because the moment you have a positive link come up, all the barbecues start coming up. Oh, it's cooking. Oh, it's happening. The moment it's not, he's like, oh, let's get that barbecue. Let's burn it. Like, it is mad. It is mad.
Thanks for checking out the Cannon Podcast. To get full episodes and access to exclusive benefits, head over to patreon.com/thecannonpod and sign up for just £3 a month.